Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to start off the year with a bit of a goal setting exercise, and it ended up becoming more of a strategy session on what those goals should look like. Let me show you. I have a whiteboard ready here with why I'm keeping my goals small in 2025. And the main points would be that I want to finish what I've started, make it easier to win, and acknowledge that small wins add up. So if we dive a little deeper to each point here, I realized while reflecting on the last year, when it comes to finishing what I've started, I had a lot of unfinished work from 2024 that I don't feel satisfied with. I did a lot of big things, there were a lot of big changes, and overall I would view it as a successful year. But there's an abundance of unfinished projects that made it to about the halfway point or close to the end that for some reason I just didn't wrap up. And I'm theorizing that if I made some of those goals a bit smaller, I would be able to complete them. The next part would be that I've identified that it's an unhealthy pattern that I need to break. If I go back all the way to childhood, there are certain things I never finished, like video games. I would get near, sometimes near to the end, sometimes all the way to the last boss. And for some reason, I just never finished it. Same with books that I read last year. I'd make it about to the halfway point. So there's a pattern there that I think is a bit unhealthy and needs to be broken. And I wanted to build up some consistency from seeing some things from start to finish, because I think that would be one way to break that pattern. I have to convince myself that it's unacceptable to pick something up and then move on to something else in the middle of that existing project, right? Like there has to be a really good reason to drop it. So there's a little bit of focus this year for me to finish what I've started. And if you go on to the next point, which I think relates to the first one about finishing what I started, I want it to be easier to win. By keeping my goals small for the year, what I mean is I want to make bite-sized content like blogs, videos, and projects. I found that last year I naturally wrote like, let's say 1,000 words before I decided a blog was finished. And with videos, I realized that some of the filming I would do, there would be like 40 minutes of footage to scrub through because I wanted these things to be a bit longer. So for blog specifically, I'm going to try something around the 300 word range intentionally. With videos, I want to keep it under 10 minutes. And with projects, instead of trying to build out these bigger things with all these features, like what if I just worked on one feature? That's the idea this year. And maybe if I make it easier to win, I'll be able to finish what I've started, right? Along with making it easier to win and the idea of bite-sized content is the idea that finished work doesn't always have to have a huge impact. Instead of delivering this grand idea, what if I just delivered a small idea? A small idea that inches my understanding of a specific topic just a little bit better. So this whole idea of making it easier to win is actually more related to changing my view on what's good enough. So let's just transition to this next point here. I like to chase after big goals. And because the goals have always been so big, if I do win, I do feel a sense of progress. And I do understand that all these big goals I've been after are really an accumulation of small goals adding up, small wins adding up, as I'm calling it here. Like if I use a fitness example, the small goals that have built up for that are like, I worked out. I worked out every day for a week. I worked out 5 days a week for a whole year. And I did that for multiple years, right? Those are all just small things. When you think about getting fit over multiple years, the task might feel daunting, but if all I have to do on one day is I just have to do today's workout. And then the next evolution is that I have to plan next week's workout and commit to those and getting them done, right? So you can still accomplish these big goals by breaking them down. And related to that idea, small tasks are less intimidating to start. And when you break down your bigger goals into small tasks, a finished task, especially if it's smaller, when it's easier to finish, related to the first 2 points, you have a sense of accomplishment that gives you momentum, that keeps you going. When your tasks are smaller, you're able to go from start to finish and be like, okay, what's next? And it feels like you have a bigger sense of progress, and that while you're on this streak of finishing things, you want more of it. There's like this craving to get more done. And I think if you make your goals smaller throughout the year, you'll have more of that momentum throughout the day to just want to get more stuff done. And at least that's my experiment for the year, right? So if I zoom this out, I'll probably quickly wrap this up. in the spirit of making these videos shorter. I plan to keep my goals small this year for the following reasons. I want to be able to finish more of what I've started. I want to make it easier to win. And I want these small wins to add up. That's really all it is. And if you enjoy this content and how I think through my ideas and my process, I would appreciate it if you follow the channel and check out the next video. Have a good one.